powered by Riverside FM.
The Minnesota Vikings beat the Cincinnati Bengals 48-10. Boy, this is one of those games where I don't think we've had a game like this under the KOC era. Like we've always had like these one-score games or these games where we have to come back from 33 points down, but we never, this is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, UP Nation, Purple Gang, SKOL Nation, put it in the comments. Have we had a game under KOC where we just obliterate somebody from start to finish? If there's a game out there that I'm not thinking of, let me know. Put it in the comments. I think this may be our first one. And I know everybody wants to start with the quarterback. Everybody's eyes was on Carson Wentz as JJ McCarthy was out. And I'm not going to start there because I think it will be disrespectful to the defense. And I've said it before. I know that for the most part, everybody likes Brian Flores. You know, I don't hear a lot of negative things about Brian Flores. Don't get me wrong. But Brian Flores has his critics out there. And I'm not saying there's nothing to criticize Brian Flores for, man. But I'm telling you, the one constant on this team since he has taken over the defense is that 90 to 95% of the time, man, the defense shows up every single game. I mean, it's getting to the point where you could just hang your hat that the defense is going to be there. I mean, look at the first 3 games of this season. Even the game that they lost against the Atlanta Falcons, I thought the defense gave us an opportunity to win that game, but the defense couldn't hold them forever, and the offense just wasn't productive in the second game of the season versus the Atlanta Falcons. Today, they just obliterated the Cincinnati Bengals. And Jake Browning, who talked a lot of trash the last time he beat us about the Vikings shouldn't have cut him, well, today was payback. And don't think those guys don't remember those comments. Brian Flores came with it today. The defense was absolutely fantastic. You saw an intent from the Minnesota Vikings to stop the run early. Unfortunate that Hargrave went out during the game with some sort of chest injury and wasn't able to come back. But you know who showed up was my guy, LDR. Like, this was probably the best game that LDR played in a Minnesota Vikings uniform. I mean, that dude was all over the place. He was stopping the run. He was getting that interior pressure, pushing that pressure up the middle of the field against Jake Browning, made him uncomfortable. Redmond as well. And then you could also say that this was Dallas Turner best game in a Minnesota Vikings uniform. He was out there making a lot of plays. And you can tell, man, when guys start to build that confidence, they start to get a lot of swagger. And you can tell they start to open their toolbox a little bit in terms of moves, how to get around those offensive linemen, swim moves, undercuts, stuff like that. And you can just see Dallas Turner start to go in his bag. The more this kid plays, the better he's going to be. Van Ginkel came in to spell for a couple of minutes. They didn't give Van Ginkel a lot of run because he's just coming off his injury as well. So that afforded Dallas Turner to be able to come in and play. And I thought Dallas Turner looked fantastic. The whole defense looked fantastic. I would be remiss if I did not mention our guy, Isaiah Rodgers. I mean, that dude was all over the place, and he has an affinity to being able to punch that ball out. You know, people are saying that's a Brian Flores technique. It is a Brian Flores technique, but he was doing a lot of that in Philadelphia as well. Like, this dude has a great motor in terms of coming up on wide receivers, making tackles, especially from behind, and punching that ball out. And here's what's great about it. Man, when he punches that ball out, he knows kind of exactly where the ball is going to go. I mean, you saw him, boom, punch it out, and he was tracking it through the tackle, you know, assuming that the ball was going to come out so he could jump on it right away. Like, that shows that is a practice skill set from Isaiah Rodgers in terms of that punch, strip, pick up, go. Like, you can tell he's practiced that a lot. I mean, he did it several times during the game. There was 2 that he got to, 1 that he almost got to. I mean, Isaiah Rodgers probably played his best game. There was a lot of bests out there today. Probably played his best game as a pro. You know what was good to see? It was great to see our guy Harrison Smith back out there. And you could see that he is a quarterback to the defense. I know he's not necessarily wearing a green dot, but he's the most veteran guy out there on the defense. So there's nothing that he hasn't seen offensively. He has a great grasp of the Brian Flores defense. And sometimes it's just not about the physical, it's about the mental as well. And that's what Harrison Smith really provides out there. A lot of communication, a lot of talking, helping to get the guys lined up where they're supposed to be in that secondary. And he got his hands on a few balls today in terms of deflections. They even brought him up to the line a couple times where he was able to put pressure on Jake Browning. So it was really, really good to see my guy Harrison Smith out there, man. So I just got to give the defense is kudos. Second thing, man, it was great to see Christian Darrisaw back out there. I know a lot of people, they don't pay attention a whole lot to the offensive line. It's not necessarily a sexy position. It's not a skilled position, but you could see the impact of having a Christian Darrisaw out there. The block that he made for Jordan Mason, I believe, on his second touchdown. If you're able to go back and watch the highlights of that, him making contact with that defensive lineman, turning him, sealing that defensive lineman off, created a hole for Jordan Mason to be able to run through, and it was a touchdown. His pass protection today was paramount. I thought that really showed up, which gave Carson Wentz a better pocket to be able to be productive, and I thought it was evident how much we missed Christian Darrisaw. That left tackle spot was not a sieve like it's been the last couple of weeks for the Minnesota Vikings to at least get that solidified. Not saying he played a perfect game, but it shows you, even by not playing a perfect game, how effective Christian Darrisaw could be. And so I know already I'm hearing comments about, well, with Christian Darrisaw's back, that's why the quarterbacking looked a little bit better. The offense looked a little bit better. I think both things can be truth at the same time. Like, I don't put the production of the offense all on Christian Darrisaw. See, that's when things get a little bit dangerous and things get a little bit skewed in terms of the narrative. I think Carson Wentz made some good plays. I thought there were a couple plays where he held on to the ball too long. I think some of the sacks that were taken were not necessarily the offensive line's fault, but I thought it was all on Carson Wentz. And a lot of it, man, think about it. Like, the narrative on Carson Wentz is that he makes boneheaded plays. Like, I think sometimes you can't really have it both ways. Do you want this guy to make quick decisions when he usually makes bad decisions on quick decisions? Or do you want him to be a little bit hesitant, think through some things, look through his progressions, look at his checkdowns? Being on the team for 3 weeks, he's been in the offense for really in the past, but right now he's thinking, man, I got to be sure. I don't want to come in and make the big mistakes. And I think that's the hesitancy that you're seeing with Carson Wentz. So I didn't mind him because everybody's on him about the boneheaded plays. Everybody's talking about the left-hand throws. Well, I would rather have Carson Wentz in his first game after being here 3 weeks processing things a little bit slower so he doesn't make the big mistakes. I am thinking that is going to get better the next couple of weeks for the Minnesota Vikings offense with Carson Wentz at the helm. I thought he made good throws. I thought he made some confident throws. The one that he threw to Thielen when he was scrambling, man, was a great decision. It was just a little bit off the money. If he would have shortened that thing up a little bit, put a little bit more loft on the ball, and he was scrambling, I think Adam Thielen comes down with that catch. But I thought that Carson Wentz played a really efficient game, didn't make the big mistake, no turnovers, had 2 touchdowns, 173 yards. That's what you want from Carson Wentz. This offense, it is safe to say, this offense looked better than it had in the first 2 weeks. And I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke and tell you that it was all Christian Darrisaw. I think it was a combination of different things. I think we had a great running game. I think Christian Darrisaw was back, and I thought that Carson Wentz played well. I think people are going to be a little bit gun shy to give Carson Wentz a little bit more credit because they're trying to protect JJ McCarthy. And like I said, I don't think JJ McCarthy needs protecting when he's healthy. and he's ready to go. He comes back. He's our starting quarterback. So that's not going to stop me from giving Carson Wentz his kudos when he needs to get his kudos. I think he played a fantastic game today, and I thought that that's why the offense moved a little bit better today. Once he gets more confident and once he gets more comfortable in the Minnesota Vikings offense, I think you're going to see better versions of Carson Wentz each week. And I think that's the truth. I think if you hang your hat that it was all Christian Darrisaw and the offensive lineman, I think that's a dangerous thing because at some point, JJ McCarthy is going to have to come back and he's going to have all the tools at his disposal. He's going to have a healthier offensive line. And so if it's Christian Darrisaw making this offensive thing go, I hope you're right. I hope you're right because that puts a lot of pressure on JJ McCarthy. And I think it's a combination of quarterback play, left tackle play, running back play. Speaking of the running backs, I think, and this is throwing no shade on Aaron Jones, it's just about making the right decision. I think it was a blessing in disguise that Jordan Mason got this opportunity because if Aaron Jones was healthy, I don't think you see a 100-yard game from a running back because I think Aaron Jones, number one, is going to eat up those carries from Jordan Mason, and I don't think Aaron Jones would have put up 100 today. I think they would have been splitting possessions like they always do. Who knows who would have got the most carries, but I think it's safe to say that Jordan Mason would not have gotten the carries that he got today. 116 yards for Jordan Mason. I predict that he would go for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. I want you to think back when you've seen that level of production in a Minnesota Vikings running game. That was an efficient running game by the Minnesota Vikings. Jordan Mason was just gouging the Cincinnati Bengals up the middle, 3-4 yards at a crack, getting around the corner on pitches. Once he gets in the red zone, scoring touchdowns. I predicted that Jordan Mason would lead the Minnesota Vikings in touchdowns this year because I think he's going to be that efficient in the red zone. You know, it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder when you see a guy produce like Jordan Mason and you see it in practice and you see it in the joint practices and you see it in the preseason games. It's like I ask myself, what is Aaron Jones showing the coaching staff that Jordan Mason is not showing? I mean, I'm telling you right now, if Aaron Jones was healthy, you would have not seen this production from Jordan Mason today because obviously Aaron Jones probably would have been in there being the bell cow and getting some of those carries. So it's just amazing to see what the coaches are seeing and how they're evaluating it. Because I guarantee you it would not have been this way. And look at the production that Jordan Mason got today. Unbelievable. It's going to be interesting to see if Jordan Mason keeps this up and Aaron Jones comes off of IR, what's the decision going to be? See, for me, that's a little bit more tantalizing. And I have a lot of what ifs with that running back position, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, than I have at the quarterback position. I think, again, you have to go back to JJ McCarthy, but who do you go to at running back? For me, it's Jordan Mason. The thing is, does KOC, who's proven that he is loyal to his players, I think he has a hard time making these decisions. Does he go back to Aaron Jones, who we just re-signed in the offseason? Do we go back to Aaron Jones over Jordan Mason? If this kid is this productive over the next couple of games before Aaron Jones comes back after the bye, I just don't see how you go back to Aaron Jones. But this was a great game for the Minnesota Vikings. Again, we don't have, if any, game where we just obliterated somebody under KOC's era since he's been with the Minnesota Vikings. Man, I could be missing a game. I know we've had those comebacks. I know we've had, some one-score games. There was a game against Buffalo, but I'm talking about start to finish. Have we had one of those games where we just blew somebody out? Regardless, it was a great game. It was fantastic not to be on the edge of your seat for once on the Sunday for a Minnesota Vikings football game or disappointed. So I really, really enjoyed this. I thought everybody came to play today. I thought B-Flow and his defense deserves the MVP trophy of the game. Those guys really stood up. I thought Christian Darrisaw played a fantastic game today when he was in there. I thought Carson Wentz was not elite by any stretch of the imagination, took some bad sacks, but was 14 to 20, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, and moved the offense. It is the best that the offense has looked in 3 games. I thought his 4 quarters of work were pretty solid. Let's see if he can carry that over to Ireland when we play the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that Pittsburgh Steelers game is going to be a little bit tougher than we think. Originally, when they didn't have Aaron Rodgers under center, I thought we would beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now they got Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be a little bit tougher, but I think the Minnesota Vikings can handle Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of optimism about this team. We got some people back in the fold, people that have been injured out there. Of course, Christian Darrisaw, Harrison Smith, Xavier Scott, also backup running back. You know what's interesting? The tandem, who is more productive? Is the tandem of Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason more productive than Jordan Mason and Xavier Scott? Like, man, that kid is explosive, especially when you run him in that screen game and you get him in the space. Man, he finds holes, he's slippery, and he runs hard. I just like that kid, man. I just really, really like Xavier Scott, man. Dude is box office. But the Minnesota Vikings, 48-10, couldn't ask for a better win. Thank God Kwesi Adofo-Mensah signed Carson Wentz. I think if that was Sam Howell in there today, could have been a different story. Good, solid play at the quarterback position. We're going to see how this thing continues to roll. Lots to talk about for the week. Getting ready to fly over to Ireland and get a dub against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, the Minnesota Vikings win 48-10. This is Unconventional Playbook. Please hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, we will see ya when we see ya. SKOL!